Alright guys, welcome back. On this one, I want to talk about Eco Pro mode, which is also known as your economy mode, which is done by this button down here. One of your three modes. The bottom one's Eco Pro, which means economy. So right now, I'm in Eco Pro mode, which turns all your gauges blue. And on this side, on the left-hand side, from 0 all the way to 80 miles an hour, is where my efficiency is set. Because I'm in standard Eco Pro. Of course, you can also configure Eco Pro, and you could set your efficiency to stop at 65 miles an hour, which is where that speedometer on the left would stop at. And so on the right, you have the 90, and there's a needle. There's a needle right here at 90, and that's your miles per gallon all the way up to 0. See, I'm averaging 22.7 because I'm heavy-footed, and I'm not too conscious about my miles per gallon. I drive, this is a sports car, so I drive it like it. But once in a while, you might be running out of gas. So 114 down there at the bottom left, you might have it at 10 miles. And you might want to put yourself in Eco Pro mode so you can make it to your meeting that you're going to. And so you can see here, everything is pretty much the same as if we're in comfort mode. So here's comfort. This is the natural mode. And here's sport in red, which started the engine. And I'll put us back in Eco Pro mode. And Eco Pro mode, if you notice, since the engine started, the 90 here, that's where the needle was. And now the engine started, so the needle's up here. And the needle can go down to this battery. And that's where the car's charging itself, basically, when you're braking or when you're coasting. But the needle moves as your right foot moves across this line, this 90 to 0 miles per gallon. And so there's something else that pops up right about here when you're coasting. That's your bonus range. So there's a car that is driving that way with an arrow when you're coasting. Let's see if it'll do it for me at this time. Or if it turns off at some point here. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. So the car's off and it's still rolling. And you have your auto stop start function that's activated. The A, that's your auto stop start function. And so far in this car, I've been in auto stop start for 1 hour and 16 minutes total. Now I want you to remember something. There is a driving style analysis in the car, and it is found in your infotainment. So I want to show you. So in the infotainment, I'll go to car. Well, that's not car. Went one further. Go to car, and we'll go to driving information and driving style analysis. Now, driving style analysis does not show unless you are in Eco Pro mode. It'll be grayed out. Another one that's pretty nice too when you're Eco Pro mode is energy flow, which I've done a couple videos on. And as you can see, there it is. The battery is on, vehicle's ready to drive, but the engine's off. The engine would be glowing in orange. So I have 2 more videos on energy flow, which shows you how that works. It's tied into this. And driving style analysis, this is where you have anticipation and acceleration and also additional range, which is what I was talking about. That shows up here where the 1 hour 17 minutes, 1 hour 18 minutes is at. And you could see the battery is what's powering the car, and it's glowing blue, showing us that that's the only thing powering the car at this time. But this here, basically, you have anticipation on this side and acceleration on this side, and you have the blue, which will help you be more efficient. Now, let's start driving. Let's see here. I'm getting a 2 out of 5, as you can see. I'm not so efficient. Oh, there we go. The engine turned back off. By the way, if you click on your left paddle and you put it in manual, the engine will turn back on. And if I hold the right paddle and hold it back to drive, eventually it'll turn back off. But the engine won't turn off if you're in manual mode or in sport, because you could still drive in manual mode or sport when you're in economy mode. Another thing too is that the car rolls downhill much more freely. The transmission basically disengages from the engine, and it rolls downhill much more freely, and it could start when you start climbing back uphill. In here you have trip data, and trip data shows us here when we were driving in Eco Pro mode, because this is all color coordinated. You have Sport is red, Eco Pro is blue, and Comfort is clear. And you could see down here as well, you have 494 miles, where the car was basically, that's our trip actually. I haven't restarted my trip. And there's our 1 hour 18. It's not showing up here, but you could still look at all this stuff in the background. This is the symbol I was talking about. You see the little symbol under here? The car going to the left? That is what will show up where the 1 hour 18 was, on top of that Eco Pro symbol. So when you press Eco Pro twice, which we'll do here, it gives you an option for Eco Pro Individual. And if I scroll to configure Eco Pro Individuals, configurable just like sport mode, where you can intermesh your steering wheel, your transmission, and do different settings for each. So in here I can adjust my speed. This is what I was telling you about, where you see the 80 miles an hour, the blue line. So if I adjust this to, let's say, 69, and you want to press OK to confirm, and you can see here it's at 69 now. That's where it stopped. And so that's your Eco Pro speed, where it'll basically warn you that you're not being as efficient. But the car is naturally set to 80 miles an hour. You can choose if you don't want it to interrupt your heated seats or your climate control, where it comes on a lot slower, more like a second thought instead of a first thought for your comfort, and also your light settings. You can also have your steering wheel be in sport while you're in economy mode, and then you could also reset everything back to standard, which is what I'll do there, because I just used the natural Eco Pro mode. And your efficiency is 80% here on the right, which you could see, but if you turn off your seats, takes it down to 60, takes it down to 55, and so on and so forth. But I'm going to do another video, probably a part 2 again, on Eco Pro mode. And thank you for watching, and see you next time.